Hello, welcome pen friends. This is the number 6 ink in the Ink Flight series for November 2018. So we're going to do this one today, which is my favorite so far of the 7. It's made by 3 Oysters in Korea, and the name of it is Min Cobalt. It's just a really pretty blue, and at first I thought I was going to find some that were just exactly like it, but that didn't turn out to be the case. So let's get into this and see what I found out. I really enjoyed this one. Unless Jade ends up being just like blowing me out of the water, it's going to wind up being my favorite one from these samples. Of course, I love blue, so that's not, that's not surprising. Let's go ahead and do the bath test on it. And I'll show you the last video. Now, yesterday I took a day off. Actually, it was a day on because I worked all day organizing in my office. I have 3 work areas in my little office. And oh boy, my head is clear now. My mind, I can think again, and I can find things and reach things. So it was worth it. But the last time we visited, we did red wine. It was this one right here. And this is how the bath test turned out. You can read it still. You're not having anything red anymore. It's kind of a greenish, yellowish. But they're all looking like this. So I'm going to be surprised, I'm going to wonder about today's. Since it's so dark, what's going to happen to that one. Okay, so that's that. Let's get right into the... I'm going to push this aside for us for a while. We'll revisit it. This is the Rhodia Gold book. And you can see we're just about... complete. We have one more, and my goal was to have these all profiled before the Thanksgiving holiday, which is in just a few days now. Let's see, 3 more days and it'll be Thanksgiving here in the United States. So here's the blue that we're doing today, and let's go see how it came out over here. I just immediately loved how it looked in the stub, 1.1 millimeter Goulet stub. It looks really good in there. And then there it is on the Tomoe River paper, which is coming across just a tad bit darker, but not much. I can see a little bit of red around the edges too, a little sheen, but it's very difficult to pick up. Let's see. Probably not going to today. We're having rain unexpectedly. It's warmer, but it's raining. So I found that it was available at Pen Chalet in the 18 ml bottle for $10, and then it's also available at Goulet pens, that same size. It's a small bottle for $10. Now on Anderson pens, I saw they had it, but it was they were out right now, temporarily out of stock, I think. And then so at Goulet you can get a 2 ml sample for $2. So here it is in the stub right up to this point. And then down here, it's in the fine nib, which it did really good in that too. It lightens up just a little, but which is understandable because that stub puts out a lot of ink. It really does. So my first impressions are it's just a really nice dark blue. And well, sure enough, it did look quite a bit like Diamine Oxford blue, which is one of my old favorites. And I have what's left of a bottle of that. I actually wrote with that... I started like with Noodler's Heart of Darkness and Diamine Oxford Blue, and I think Noodler's Black Swan and Australian Roses, and also one more. I think it was Diamine Aqua Lagoon, and those were the only ones I had for a long time, and I was happy with them. So let's look in the other notebooks though. Let's take a look. This is the Tomoe River paper in Cafe Note by Nanami Paper Company. Ooh, I'm going right through that. I think I'm almost halfway through. So things are going well. I had 2 days with no leg cramps or foot cramps. That was nice. Started using that Dr. Teal's lotion again. But I love how it looks in both of these nibs. There's just no denying that the readability and the nice dark color. And that's just me. I like a dark color. Or I like a really bright color, one or the other, or both. This kind of has a little of both, in my opinion. It's bright enough of a blue, but it's not quite turquoise or anything. It's just nice. Yeah, so there it is. Hopefully you could see that real good. It definitely puts down the ink. And then in the fine nib, that's a big drastic difference, and yet I had no trouble writing smoothly with it, and it was a good writing experience. Okay, let's get into this little gem here. This little notebook here is a favorite of mine now. It came as a pen goodie in an ink flight box. And I love how it displays the ink. It just has a way about it where you get to see the best of the color on this paper. It's silky smooth paper too. And rarely does it bleed through. Let's see. No bleed through. And I laid that on there, the top one, real thick. Real, you know, I didn't even wipe the paintbrush on the top with the ink. So, oh, I've fallen behind. I haven't really been on Instagram. I've been really busy trying to make my environment better. And not just my office, but the whole house, which is, I think that is solving some of my issues, because I was really having a struggle, but it was such a mess. And you know, my brain, I really can't afford to have a mess because I'm already a little bit scattered and stuff. Okay, here's the Tomoe River. Oh, all of a sudden something smells good in the kitchen. Tomoe River paper, 52 gram. Nice on there, I thought. There they both are. I don't know that there's much shading, but certainly it just makes up for it in all that saturation. You can see a little bit of shading, but, or I can. I'm not sure whether you can or not. It kind of darkens on a day like this. Here's Leuchtturm 1917. It was real smooth on here. I like the way the ink's right on here. Let's just make sure. No, we had no bleed through or anything there. And then on Clairefontaine, oh, I had to turn it over. We filled this up. We filled it right up, so we're on the back. It looks good on there, and I had none of that other, you know, I had a few complaints before about how it felt dry, some of these inks. Not very many, just, well, mustard and purple gray, I think, dragged on the good paper, but not on this, not with this ink. The Cobalt was really good for that. And it was really good also, in my opinion, on Rhodia dot pad. No problems whatsoever. Just felt like it was a good writing experience. Hopefully you can see that close enough to make an opinion of your own. Here is CVS caliber paper. Oh, I was really enjoying last night writing to my mother on this, because I write lots of pages. And so what did I have in there? I guess I may have finished what was in the pen on the red wine, and then I switched to another stub nib that had Diamine Florida Blue. Anyway, I thought, well, she's going to be able to read this. It looked really good. So I thought this was as good as it gets, you know, on this paper. It's definitely stayed darker with the stub nib, but that's always going to be the case. Okay, here's Office Depot, College Ruled. Great on there, just, you know, nice and dark. In fact, it almost looks black, but that was probably right after I dipped and prepared for the first writing. So I did get a little of it run through on a scrap paper to try to make it look right, but, you know, not to have it just totally gushing, but there we go. Okay. Let's look at the panel. I made a dedicated panel, but on our way there, this is going to end up looking maybe purple almost. And the readability is not quite as good, but we'll see what it is when we do the last ink. I'll show you the results of this one. Let's use it as a backdrop here. Okay, so I made a dedicated panel, and I was kind of happy with this. Not that they're all just like it, because we've got a couple that are going to stand out and be our control subjects. Like Noodler's Bay State Blue is obviously much brighter, you know, and it just stands right out. And this one is off into a different, this is KWZ Baltic Memories. It's gorgeous, but it's in a different color family too. But I think that's okay, because that helps us to compare them. In my personal collection, I have the little remaining, what's left in the bottom of my bottle, that started out as a 90 ml bottle of Diamine Oxford Blue, and I thought they compared pretty well. Diamine Oxford Blue actually appears to have more red sheen on it than Cobalt, but Cobalt does have some nice subtle red sheening. And then Diamine Skull and Roses, I've never seen an ink that had so much red in it. That may be how it got its name. You know, it's got a lot of red sheen in it, and kind of a brighter blue base color. Oh, here's a special one here. Here's Annie's Pendle Water. And at the end, let me pull out a paper. I need to remember. I was going to go ahead and share it. She shared with us what is in that. And I think that will be, viewers may be interested. So, okay, this is Diamine Blue Pearl, which it really reminded me of it, even though that's a shimmer ink. Yeah, there we go. There's some shimmer for you. So it is different, but it did remind me of that in basic shade and everything. And then here we go into the brighter blue, the Bunga Box Hatsukoi. Maybe you have that one. Maybe that'll help you compare. Diamine Majestic Blue is another one with a lot of red sheen. But it's, yeah, it's I don't want to say brighter because that just depends. It's brighter when you add water, but I'm not so sure on surface there. I don't know why, but I was surprised that Noodler's Bay State Blue moved around like that. I mean, it didn't really. It was just a little top level. There's no way it would disturb what you had written or anything. But that did surprise me because some of the Noodlers, when I take a paintbrush over the ink, I mean, it's as if I didn't do anything, even if I slop it on. So that was surprising. And I believe I let it dry at least an hour. So that's odd. But anyway, so there we have a little bit of a comparison. And then, yeah, I really did think that Annie's Pendle Water compared quite well to it. It's a little lighter, and yet look at how much they look alike in the base. What comes out with water. That was so interesting to me. And I can't remember right off the top of my head what was in it, but we're going to read that at the end of the video. Okay, now let's look at the visual journal, which I finished the very last page, not even realizing. So I'll be starting a new one. Here it is. It was really something. Came out with a lot of light blue or teal kind of, and a lot of little pink streaks, just real subtle in there. That may be probably the reason why, although it does sheen a little bit red, not too much, it's very subtle. And it's very subtle here too. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see. Just really, really a hint of pink. But all around the edges came out that brighter blue, and I thought that was pretty. This one here was quite dramatic in the way it behaved. I liked that. And then when I looked, I thought, oh, that's the cardboard. That's the bitter end. This is all filled up. Which, I say I'm going to miss it, but when the first of the year rolls around and I start getting more coupons and less Christmas, I'll probably get another one exactly like it, because this size, 5.5 by 8, is a favorite size of mine. But I happen to know that I need a coupon for it. So when I went, I got one of these, which was really economical at Walmart. I think it was. Yeah. So it's almost twice the size. It's going to end up being... So I'll probably maybe draw a line and just work, you know, and then we'll be able to do some comparisons. I mean, that's, you know, I'm not even sure what's next for ink, but I just wanted to show you that. Okay, so next is going to be the green. This is the final one. The next video will be the final one in this ink flight, the Jade. And that's another one that I think we're going to find out is a little bit complex maybe. It's got quite a bit going on, kind of a lime green coming out. And of course we could compare it to the one in this ink flight and what few I do have of green, but I do have more bright greens than I had dark. So I believe our panel may be interesting. So we'll see what comes out of that. Now, what I wanted to do was talking about Annie's Pendle Water. There seemed to be a lot of interest in her inks when we talked about it before, and it was in the contest for being one to be to make the viewer's choice profile. It almost made it. So what's in Annie's Pendle Water? Okay, there's quite a few, and I'll put this in the description, but her ingredients doesn't include the amounts because she just does them until she doesn't keep a record of the ratios, but she uses inexpensive inks when mixing colors so that she can just, you know, go until she gets it the way. So it's Lamy Turquoise, Sheaffer Green, Parker Blue Black, and Diamine Handel. So there's 4 inks in here. And I think I'll just type this right into the description for you because I know there was interest in this. And I can't remember the specific questions, but definitely for this one, we know now the 4 inks that go in there. I thought that was just, thank you, Annie, for sharing that in an email with me. I appreciate it, and I want to, you know, it's kind of neat to be able to pass that on. So, okay, so we'll be back with the 3 Oysters Jeong Jade. I'm not sure how to say that in the next video, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.